ready for some Miami Heat basketball with Deron Butler on Kendall Sports Network.
It's the Monday after the Super Bowl, and while your favorite team may or may not have won it all, one thing remains the same, that you are in the right place to be for the Monday night after the Super Bowl. I'm Deron Butler, welcoming you to another edition of Heat Zone Live, courtesy of Kendall Sports Network. Tonight, the Miami Heat are back in town, and they're looking to shake off the blues and get on the right note as they take on the Utah Jazz and another interconference showdown. The last time the Heat took on the Jazz, it was back in last month against the Jazz in Salt Lake City. The Miami Heat went wire to wire in a convincing win over the Jazz in a blowout victory. Jump to now, the Utah Jazz appears to have gotten a little better than before, adding some new players to their roster. Meanwhile, the Heat remain the same. If Miami are able to come away with a win, and they should, they will need to do three things against this team in the middle of a second night of a back-to-back. Yesterday, on Super Bowl Sunday, or early afternoon in that game, the Miami Heat were victorious against the Washington Wizards, forcing 19 turnovers, leading to a 132-101 victory. I mean, it's the Wizards, but then again, you take what you take. So right now I have three keys for how the Miami Heat will win tonight's game. Key number one, defense. Going back to the Boston Celtics game, the Miami Heat struggled on defense against Boston, who went on that tremendous run in the second half, more specifically in the third quarter. The Heat did not get their footing on offense, which hurt them the most. So, in a sense, they will need defense to generate offense. So that's key number one. Key number two, attack the rim and get to the free throw line. This will help out, especially in the second half. If we know Miami, they're notorious for blowing leads in the second half. So against Utah, not only do they have to force turnovers on defense, they will have to get to the rim. That will not only get to the rim for their offense, but also generate free throws that will help boost their offensive rhythm. Those are things that will help the Heat, especially when they're struggling to get out of the play-in. And last and not least, you're going to have to win the rebounding game. The Utah Jazz recently acquired Jaren Jackson Jr. from the Memphis Grizzlies, which means it's going to be a big-time battle underneath the boards. Jaren Jackson Jr., he is a double-double waiting to happen on points and rebounds. So if I'm Miami, specifically Bam Adebayo or even Kel'el Ware, I need to win the battle on the boards. There's no excuses. Jaren Jackson Jr. is an all-star, but even though he's not playing in the all-star game, he's still an all-star regardless. But if you manage to win the battle on the boards on both ends of the floor, defense and offense, more specifically getting second chance points, that will help out a lot. So right now the Miami Heat are honoring not only Kel'el Ware for being part of the Rising Stars game, but also Norman Powell as a member of not only the Eastern Conference All-Stars, but he will also be competing in the three-point shootout contest. So we'd love to see that for Miami. Right now, the players are warming up. National anthem is about to play. And when I come back, we will have the starting lineups and opening tip-off. It's the Monday after the Super Bowl, and you're here with me in the Heat Zone, courtesy of Kendall Sports Network. And we are back. Norman Powell is heading to the NBA All-Star Game. He will also be participating in the three-point shootout contest. Kel'el Ware is part of the Rising Stars event. Keshad Johnson has been invited to partake in the slam dunk contest. And Jahmir Young will be in the G League Next Up game, as well as the G League three-point contest. So 4 Miami Heat players will be busy on All-Star Weekend. So you love to see the representation Miami has right now. The players are still warming up. We still have a starting lineups and tip-offs coming soon. I mean, congratulations to Norman Powell, Kel'el Ware, Jahmir Young, and Keshad Johnson. So this is a big plus for the Miami Heat, even though it means a lot to those guys. It means a lot to them. I mean, hard work does pay off, and I'm glad for Norman Powell especially, and Kel'el Ware. So right now, I mean, look at me picking favorites. So here we go for the starting lineups. The Utah Jazz have Isaiah Collier, Ace Bailey, Lauri Markkanen, newcomer Jaren Jackson Jr. at power forward, and Jusuf Nurkic at center. And for the Miami Heat, we have Davion Mitchell, Simone Fontecchio, Andrew Wiggins, Bam Adebayo, and Kel'el Ware in the starting lineup. Yes, Bam, you heard me correctly. Bam Adebayo and Kel'el Ware are in the starting lineup. Alright, so both teams are getting ready for tonight's game. This one should be fun. A fun, high-scoring game between these two teams. Let's see what game plan Miami has in store for Utah. Bam Adebayo already. He is hyped. He is getting ready for this one. All right, so here we go. Utah wins the tip, and here we go for tonight's game. Collier gives it to Jusuf Nurkic. Nurkic to Ace Bailey. Ace Bailey guarded by Wiggins. Bailey kicks it out to Ace Bailey gets the ball back. Here comes Collier. Collier drives in. Misses the basket. Rebound by Miami. Here comes Davion Mitchell. Mitchell to Bam. Bam, long three. That rims off. Rebound by Utah. All right, here comes Isaiah Collier. Collier gives it to Lauri Markkanen. To Ace Bailey. Ace Bailey guarded by Wiggins. Gives it to Markkanen. Jusuf Nurkic sets the screen. There's a three on the way. Rims off. Rebound by Jusuf Nurkic. Doesn't get his own basket, but he gets his own rebound. Nurkic gets fouled, and he will go to the line for 2 free throws. Jusuf Nurkic knocks down the first free throw. And he goes 1 of 2 from the line. All right, here comes Davion Mitchell. Gives it to Bam. Bam finds Davion Mitchell. Out to Bam. Bam with the turnaround jumper. That one rims off. Rebound by Utah. Here comes Isaiah Collier. Gives it to Jaren Jackson Jr. Jr. drives in, and he gets the basket. Utah are up by 3. All right, here comes Bam. Finds Kel'el Ware. Goes for 3. And Kellel Super Boy Ware hits Miami on the board. We're all tied at 3. All right, here comes Utah. Yusuf Nurkic, guarded by Kellel Ware. Gives it to Isaiah Collier. To Jaren Jackson Jr. Jaren Jackson Jr. misses the hook. Rebound by Yusuf Nurkic, and he gets fouled. Another foul on Miami. That should send Yusuf Nurkic back to the line. Here it is again. Yusuf Nurkic battling under the boards with Bam and Kellel Ware. All right, so Utah will have it side out instead. Here comes Ace Bailey. Off the legs of Davion Mitchell, and that's going to be Utah ball. All right. Here comes Ace Bailey for 3. That one rims off. Rebound by Miami. Here comes Davion Mitchell. Mitchell finds Wiggins. Finds Fontecchio. Back to Wiggins for 3. And that one rims off. Rebound by Yusuf Nurkic. Here comes Jaren Jackson Jr. to Isaiah Collier. Jackson sets the screen. Jaren Jackson Jr. for 3. That one rims off. Rebound by Lauri Markkanen, but it's stolen away by Simone Fontecchio. Fontecchio to Bam. Bam to Wiggins. To Davion Mitchell. To Kellel Ware. Kellel Ware driving into the lane. Guarded by Ace Bailey. Loses the ball, and that one will go out of bounds. Last touch by the Heat. It'll be Utah ball. How did Kellel Ware allow Ace Bailey to dog him out on that defense in the paint? Eesh. All right, here comes Yusuf Nurkic. No, gives it to Isaiah Collier for 3. That one rims off. Rebound goes to Ace Bailey. Passes it out to Lauri Markkanen for 3. That rims off. Rebound goes to Miami. Here comes Bam. Gives it to Simone Fontecchio for 3. And Simone La Dolce Vita Fontecchio 3. Mwah! And that will prompt a timeout for the Utah Jazz. So far, this is like a feeling out process between these two teams. But right now, Miami is getting their threes to fall as they lead 6-3. And we are back. Score is 6-3. Miami has the lead. Right now, Miami looking like they can get back on track and build upon that win from yesterday against the Washington Wizards. All right, here comes Ace Bailey. Miami gets called for the foul. That one's going to be on Simone Fontecchio. All right, so Utah will have it side out. Isaiah Collier has the ball, guarded by Davion Mitchell. Gives it to Lauri Markkanen. Markkanen out to Nurkic, and Nurkic gets the floater. Utah within one. All right, here comes Miami. Andrew Wiggins finds Fontecchio for three. Rims off, and that's going to be a foul on Utah. All right, here it is again. I think Fontecchio got fouled by Ace Bailey. Yeah, he did got fouled by Ace Bailey. Let's see it again. Yeah, that's going to be on Ace Bailey. If I said it once, I'll say it again. You don't foul a shooter when they're going for the three. All right, referees are going to review this one to see if there was a foul. I'm pretty sure it was after seeing the replays. Right now, Miami still has a 1-point lead in this game. Looking at it again, yeah, Ace Bailey definitely made contact with Simone Fontecchio's hand. I'm not sure if he's aware of that or not, but I'm pretty sure it's a foul. So we'll have to wait what the referees have to say about this. And for those of you who are lurking or tuning in, if you have any questions regarding the Miami Heat or the NBA season itself, feel free to drop a comment. All right, right now the referee is giving his final verdict. So it will be free throws for Simone Fontecchio. Yeah, it'll be 3 technical free throws for Simone Fontecchio. So that's going to be a flagrant foul on Ace Bailey, because he was in the shooting space of Simone Fontecchio, who goes ahead and makes that free throw. Ace Bailey, of course, he is the 5th overall pick by the Utah Jazz in last year's draft. Simone Fontecchio knocking down that second free throw. And Fontecchio makes all 3 technical free throws. And Miami will have the ball side out. All right, Bam inbounds the ball to Davion Mitchell. Kelly Ware gets the ball, guarded by Markkanen. Kelly passes it out. Fontecchio, long 3. That one rebound. That one rims off and it's rebounded by Utah. All right, here comes Jaren Jackson Jr. Passes it out to Markkanen. Markkanen is underneath the rim, and he gets the layup over Kel'el Ware. All right, here comes Andrew Wiggins. Wiggins gets the basket in return as Miami goes up by 4. All right, here comes Isaiah Collier. Gives the ball to Yusuf Nurkic. Nurkic finds Jaren Jackson Jr. And he missed, and he fails to get his own rebound. Miami now has it. All right, here comes Bam. Gives the ball to Davion Mitchell. Mitchell for 3. And good night, off night, Davion Mitchell. That's a 3 for Miami. And the Heat go up by 7. All right, here comes Utah now. They're swinging the ball around. They find Markkanen. Gives it to Isaiah Collier. Lauri Markkanen for 3. That rims off. Rebound goes to Utah. Here comes Ace Bailey. Guarded by Fontecchio. Gives it to Jaren Jackson Jr. And that's gonna be an offensive foul on the Jazz, so it'll be Heat ball. Jaren Jackson Jr. getting way too aggressive with Bam. And that will lead to a travel. So it's a traveling violation on Utah. All right, here comes Davion Mitchell. Mitchell out to Wiggins. Wiggins knocks it down. And now the Heat go up by 9 in this game. All right, here comes Markkanen. All right, Miami's fighting for the rebounds, and they do get it. Here comes Davion Mitchell. Finds Kel'el Ware. Out to Fontecchio. To Wiggins. Bam for the corner 3. And Bam Adebayo knocks it down. Miami now leads by 12. All right, here comes Utah. Lauri Markkanen. Finds Isaiah Collier. Collier guarded by Davion Mitchell. Back to Markkanen. Markkanen guarded by Wiggins. Markkanen now double teamed. Shoots it up. Misses the basket. Rebound by Miami. Here comes Simone Fontecchio. Driving to the lane. Fontecchio gets his own rebound and still misses. And here comes Utah. Isaiah Collier driving into the lane. Kicks it out to Ace Bailey for the corner 3. That misses. Rebound by Miami. Here comes Davion Mitchell. Davion Mitchell brings it up to the floor. Hits the fadeaway and he knocks it down. And the Heat go up by 14. All right, here comes Utah, and that's going to be a foul on Miami. This one's going to be on Kel'el Ware. Ace Bailey will go to the line for 2 free throws. All right, Ace Bailey at the line for Utah. He knocks down the first free throw. And Ace Bailey makes both free throws. Casper Siakam Jr. also win the game for Miami. Here comes Wiggins. Wiggins passes it out to Davion Mitchell. To Bam. Here comes Bam in the paint. Kicks it out to Davion Mitchell. Almost loses the ball, but he recovers it. Davion Mitchell guarded by Ace Bailey. Siakam Jr. for 3. And Kasparas, the friendly ghost Jakajunas, 3 for Miami. The Heat lead by 15 in this one. And Ace Bailey answers back with a basket for Utah. All right, here comes Jaime Jaquez Jr., also in the game for Miami. The Heat loses the ball. Here comes Utah. Ace Bailey kicks it out to Collier. All right, Ace Bailey has the ball again. Gives it to Yusuf Nurkic, misses that layup. Rebound goes to Miami. All right, Jaquez passes it out to Jakajunas, to Bam. Bam kicks it out to Wiggins. Wiggins for 3. That one rims off. Rebound by Utah. All right, here comes the Jazz. Jaren Jackson Jr. has it. That one rims off. Rebound by Davion Mitchell. Here comes Jaquez. Jaquez drives to the lane but loses the ball. Here comes Utah again. Jakajunas tries to steal the ball away but no luck. Jaren Jackson Jr. for 3 and he knocks it down. Triple J getting that tray and that will cause a Heat timeout. So far in this one, Miami is looking very dominant, but Utah has answered back so far. The Heat lead 24-14. And we are back. Of course, I mentioned Jaren Jackson Jr. being the newest addition of the Utah Jazz. He was traded from the Memphis Grizzlies as part of a 8-player deal. So Jaren Jackson Jr. playing alongside Lauri Markkanen. The Utah Jazz have 2 All-Stars. So whether or not they build around them remains to be seen. But they should. All right, Drew Smith and Nikola Jovic are now in the game for the Heat. All right, here comes Jaime Jaquez Jr. Finds Jovic. Jovic finds Kasparas Jakajunas. Back to Jovic, corner 3. And that rims off. Rebound by Utah. All right, here comes Jazz. And that one goes in for Utah. Kyle Filipkowski gets the layup as the Jazz trail by 8. And here comes the Jazz again. Finds Filipkowski. He gets fouled and he will go to the line for 2 free throws. the Utah Jazz are trying to claw their way back into this one. All right, Filipkowski now at the line. Filipkowski makes the first free throw. And Filipkowski makes both free throws. So now Utah trails by 6. Here comes Hawkes. Hawkes gives it to Yakajunas. Yakajunas drives in, loses the ball, and here comes Utah again. Filipkowski drives into the lane, gets fouled, and that one's gonna go out of bounds. Out of bounds on the Jazz. It'll be Heat ball. Okay, right now Miami looking to add some points on their scoreboard. Yakajunas corner 3, and Kasparas the friendly goes. Yakajunas 3 again from Miami. And that's going to be another violation on Utah, so it'll be Heat ball. So far, so good for Miami in this game. All right, here comes Yakajunas again for 3. And Kasparas Yakajunas, the friendly goes another 3. And Miami now leads by 12. And there's another 3 for Utah as Lauri Markkanen knocks it down. All right, Miami's lead is now 9. And that's a miss for Miami. Here comes Markkanen. Markkanen looking to drive into the lane. Misses the basket, but he gets fouled. That will send Lauri Markkanen to the line for 2 free throws. Lauri Markkanen knocks out the first free throw. Kel'el Ware returns back to the game for Miami. Byron Gardner comes out of the game. And Lauri Markkanen makes both free throws. All right, Utah is trailing by 7 in this game. And here comes Jaime Jaquez Jr. Gives it to Jovic. Jovic kicks it out to Yakajunas for the corner 3. That one rips off. Rebound by Lauri Markkanen. Markkanen, long pass. And that's going to be a kickball violation on Miami. That one's going to be on Kel'el Ware. All right, here comes Utah. Jaren Jackson Jr. finds the open player. That one rims off. Rebound goes to Miami. Here comes Jaime Jaquez Jr. Jaquez guarded by Markkanen. Out to Kel'el Ware for 3. And that one rims off. Rebound goes to Markkanen. Markkanen guarded by Yakajunas. Finds Kyle Filipkowski. Filipkowski driving into the lane. Out to Jaren Jackson Jr. for the corner 3. And he knocks it down. And Utah now trails by 4. Jaren Jackson Jr. has 8 points in this game, shooting 66% from 3-point land. All right, Drew Smith has the ball, guarded by Markkanen. Here comes Drew Smith, loses the ball, and that's gonna be a kickball violation on Utah. All right, Miami will have his side out. Here comes Kelly Ware. And he gets the layup under duress. And the Heat go up by 6. All right, here comes Jaren Jackson Jr. Misses that basket, and that's going to end the first quarter. Miami jumped out to a big lead, but then Utah came crawling back, only for the Heat to make it a back and forth exchange on offense between the two teams. So at the end of the first quarter, it's 32-26 Miami. Stick around, we have more Heat action to cover in the second quarter here on the Heat Zone, courtesy of Kendall Sports Network. And we are back, ready to begin the second quarter. Miami is leading 32-26. Here comes Lauri Markkanen with the fadeaway, and he knocks it down. So now the Jazz trail by 4. Lauri Markkanen in this game has 9 points, shooting 33% from the field. And here comes Nikola Jovic for 3. That one rims off. Rebound goes to Utah. And Miami comes up with that steal. Here comes Kasparas Giacojunas. Kelly Ware has the ball. Goes for the 3. And that one rims off. Rebound goes to Utah. Here comes Markkanen for 3. And that one rims off. Here comes Jovic. Jovic finds Kasparas Giacojunas. Driving into the lane. Kicks it out to nobody. And that goes out of bounds. Utah ball. Miami so far shooting 41% from the field. Utah 25%. Miami is shooting 41% from three-point land, and Utah with 25% from downtown. And there's another 3, and that's another miss for the Jazz. Here comes Jovic. Kelly Ware has the ball, and that's going to be a foul on Utah. That's going to send Kelly Ware to the line for 2 free throws. All right, Kelly Ware now going to the line for 2 free throws. He misses the first free throw. And Kelly Ware goes 1 of 2 from the line. So now the Heat lead by 5. All right, here comes Utah. They lose the ball, and that ball's gonna go right out of bounds. Heat ball. All right, Miami will have it side out. Here comes Drew Smith. Myron Gardner for 3. And Kasper Siakam is there for the putback as the Heat go up by 7. Kasper Siakam right now with 11 points, shooting 80% from the field. And Utah gets the basket. The Jazz trail by 5 in this one. Vince Williams getting his first 2 buckets on the board. Excuse me. Here comes Myron Gardner. Out to Drew Smith. Here comes. That's going to be an offensive foul on the Heat. So that'll be Utah ball. All right, Vince Williams will come out of the game for Utah. And Bam Adebayo will come in the game for Miami. Kelly Ware will take a seat. All right, here comes Ace Bailey. Gives it to Markkanen. Yusuf Nurkic goes for the 3. Rims off. Rebound goes to Miami. Here comes Drew Smith. Finds Myron Gardner. Gardner to Bam. To Yakajunas. Drew Smith has it. Finds Hawkes to Bam. Yakajunas open. And Kasper Siakam, the friendly, goes 3 for Miami. And the Heat go up by 8. Siakam so far has 14 points, shooting 80% from downtown. All right, here comes Siakam. That one gets away from Markkanen, so it'll be Heat ball. So far, Kasper Siakam has a hot hand, and he's been torching it from downtown. All right, here comes Siakam again. That one rims off. Rebound goes to Drew Smith. Here comes Siakam. Finds Myron Gardner. And that's going to be another violation on the Heat. So it'll be Utah ball. So far, Kasper Siakam finds himself among Heat legends Chris Bosh and Goran Dragic for most consecutive threes this season. All of them having 9 in total. 9 each, I should say. All right, Miami will have his side out. Here comes Kasper Siakam. Give it to Davion Mitchell. Mitchell finds Siakam. Back to Davion. Here comes Bam. Bam looking for the 3. Here he goes. And rims off. Rebound goes to Utah. Miami right now shooting 38% from downtown. Utah, 20%. And that's going to be a foul on Davion Mitchell. That's going to send the Jazz to the line. All right, Isaiah Collier will go to the line for 2 free throws. Isaiah Collier knocks down the first free throw. And Isaiah Collier makes both free throws. So now Utah trails by 6. All right, here comes Wiggins. Out to Fontecchio for 3. And that one rims off. Rebound goes to Utah. Here comes Ace Bailey. Bailey guarded by Wiggins. That's going to be a kickball violation on Miami. So far, this game is still back and forth as Kyle Filipkowski re-enters the game for Utah, replacing Yusuf Nurkic. All right, here comes Jaren Jackson Jr. and he gets the basket. He was looking for the foul, but the referees say no. Utah trails by 4 in this one, and Simone Fontecchio missing that 3. Here come the Jazz. They're looking to get some momentum. Going for the 3 again. That rims off. Rebound goes to Miami. All right, here comes Myron Gardner. Finds Bam. And that's going to be a foul on Utah. All right, and we're going to have a timeout. The Heat looking to talk some strategy because their lead is dwindling. They lead 38-34. And we are back. Score is 38-34. Miami has the lead, but so far Utah has been knocking away at the Heat's lead. All right, Miami will inbound the ball. Wiggins has it. Wiggins Wiggins. Wiggins. Misses the basket. Rebound goes to Utah. All right, here comes Isaiah Collier. Finds Jaren Jackson Jr. And that's going to be another foul on the Heat. That one's going to be on Davion Mitchell. All right, so Jaren Jackson Jr. will go to the line for 2 free throws. All right, Jaren Jackson Jr. knocks down the first free throw. And he goes 1 of 2 from the line. Here comes Wiggins. Wiggins, guarded by Filipowski. Wiggins finds Davion Mitchell. To Myron Gardner. To Fontecchio. And that ball gets intercepted. Here comes Ace Bailey driving into the lane. Blocked by Wiggins. Another block, and that's going to be another foul on Miami. Oh, goaltending, excuse me. That one's going to be goaltending on the Heat. Bam Adebayo got there way too late. Bryce Sensabaugh getting the basket for the Jazz. And Miami's lead now down to 1. Davion Mitchell gets fouled by Isaiah Collier. So that should be a side out for the Heat. All right, Myron Gardner comes out of the game for Miami. Kasparas Jakajunas is back in. Here comes Wiggins, corner 3. And Andrew Chief Wiggins, 3 for Miami. Andrew Wiggins now with 7 points, shooting 33% from downtown. All right, here comes Bryce Sensabaugh. Finds Jaren Jackson Jr. Back to Sensabaugh. And Bryce Sensabaugh gets the fadeaway jumper. And now Miami's lead is back down to 2. All right, here comes Simone Fontecchio. Driving into the lane, but kicks it out. Back to Fontecchio for 3. And that one rims off. Rebound goes to Utah. All right, here comes Jaren Jackson Jr. driving into the lane. He gets fouled, and he will go to the line for 2 free throws. All right. Jaren Jackson Jr. goes to the line for Utah. He knocks down the first free throw. And we have ourselves a tie game, thanks to Jaren Jackson Jr. We have a tie game at 41. Here comes Wiggins. Davion Mitchell has the ball. Finds Jakajunas, corner 3. And Miami retakes the lead thanks to Kasparas. The friendly goes Jakajunas. Jakajunas so far with 17 points, shooting 5 for 7 from downtown. All right, here comes Jaren Jackson Jr. Finds Markkanen. Here comes Isaiah Collier. Back to Jaren Jackson Jr. Misses that basket, but he gets fouled. So Jaren Jackson Jr. will return to the line for 2 more free throws. So far, this game has been back and forth. Jaren Jackson Jr. knocks down the first free throw. And he makes both free throws. So it's back to a 1-point game for Miami. Davion Mitchell passes it out to Wiggins. Wiggins drives to the lane, loses the ball, but he gets fouled. So right now that should send Wiggins to the line for 2 free throws. Wiggins missing the first free throw. And Wiggins goes 1 of 2 from the line. All right, here comes Isaiah Collier. Gives the ball to Bryce Sensabaugh. Back to Collier. Collier finds Jaren Jackson Jr. Back to Collier. Back to Sensabaugh. Sensabaugh back to Collier. Collier drives in. And Collier gets the basket, and we're all tied at 45. Speaking of 45, here comes Davion Mitchell. Finds Wiggins. Finds Bam. Bam loses the ball, and here comes Utah again. Filipkowski out to Jaren Jackson Jr. for 3, and that one rims off. And Filipkowski gets the easy basket, and Utah takes the lead for the first time. Miami right now with 10 turnovers in this game. Utah only has 5. Here comes Wiggins to Bam. Bam backing down Jaren Jackson Jr. Gives it to Wiggins. Wiggins for 3. And Andrew Chief Wiggins 3 for Miami. And just like that, Miami retakes the lead. And that one goes sailing out of bounds. It will be Heat ball. Wiggins right now in this game has 11 points, shooting 4 from 7 from the field. That was a nice shot from Wiggins. All right, here comes Davion Mitchell. Mitchell guarded by Collier, loses the ball, and I think that's going to be a foul on Isaiah Collier. All right, that will send Davion Mitchell to the line for 2 free throws. Davion Mitchell makes the first free throw. And Davion Mitchell makes both free throws. Miami now has a 3-point lead, but that can all be evaporated by Utah. All right, here comes Isaiah Collier. Collier gives it to Jaren Jackson Jr. And Jaren Jackson Jr. gets the easy layup over Andrew Wiggins. Jaren Jackson Jr. right now has 17 points in this game, shooting 5 from 11 from the field. Here comes Davion Mitchell. Finds Bam. Bam loses the ball, but that one goes out of bounds. Last touch by the Jazz. And we are going to have ourselves a timeout. It's been back and forth between these two teams. But right now, Miami is holding on to a very slim lead as they lead 50-49. Apologies for the long delay. Utah has now a 6-point lead. Isaiah Collier gets it off, and that 3-pointer is good. A big, of course, for Miami. Of course, they will let that happen. So at the end of the first half, Utah has a 61-52 lead. So, just from looking at this first half, I can say Utah had more rebounds and committed less turnovers to Miami. The Heat's offense, once again, looking very stagnant. And even though they got off to a hot start, that hot start quickly evaporated, and now Utah has a 9-point lead. That is thanks in part to their solid rebounding on defense and not allowing Miami to get anything going on offense. So this really has been the tell of the story for Miami against certain teams. They get off to a hot start, then they let the other team come back through whether it's offense, defense, or rebounding. And of course, Utah has more rebounding than Miami, and that was one of the keys that I talked about, because they had to go up against Jaren Jackson Jr., Yusuf Nurkic, and Kyle Filipkowski. So Miami needs to get back to defensive rebounding. But not only that, they're getting beat out on the free throw line. Sure, Utah had missed some threes, so did Miami. But at least Utah managed to shift their offense from behind the arc to getting it into the rim. So right now, Miami really needs to find a way to get themselves back into this one. It's halftime. If you have any questions regarding the Miami Heat, if you have any comments regarding this team, feel free to drop some and I'll answer them for you. So right now, it's halftime, and I'm going to take this time to prepare for the third quarter. And we are back, ready to begin the third quarter. Here's a look at the Utah Jazz's two big men numbers. Jaren Jackson with 17 points and Lauri Markkanen with 12 points. And we have a foul on Jaren Jackson Jr. That's going to be a foul against he fouled Simone Fontecchio, who was going for the three-pointer. So again, referees will take a look at it to see if it was a flagrant foul or not. Right now, Miami's in a 9-point hole. They are trailing in this game. So let's see what happened. Jaren Jackson Jr. Oh, yes, he was in Simone Fontecchio's shooting space. So that's going to be another flagrant foul. Early in the game, this happened to Ace Bailey. So it's going to be another. So that's going to be another technical foul on Utah. So 3 technical free throws will be given to Simone Fontecchio if it stands. Right now, Miami just needs to get themselves out of this hole that they're under. So after that referee's decision, it looks like it's going to be 3 technical free throws, I believe. Right, Simone Fontecchio's at the line. He knocks down the first free throw. He makes the second free throw. And he makes all 3 free throws. So right now the Heat are within 6. All right, Jaren Jackson Jr. gives it to Isaiah Collier. Collier, guarded by Davion Mitchell. All right, here comes Collier. Finds Jaren Jackson Jr. Misses the basket. Rebound by Jusuf Nurkic. Here comes the 3. That one rims out. And I think that one's going to be last touch by Utah, so it should be Heat ball. So here it is again. Yeah, Ace Bailey was the one who last touched it, so it will be Heat ball. All right, here comes Davion Mitchell. Mitchell passes it to Bam, to Fontecchio. And it's Wiggins for 3, and that one rims off. Rebound goes to Bam. Bam, guarded by Nurkic. Here comes Bam, guarded by Ace Bailey. Bam with the fadeaway, and he misses the basket. Rebound by Utah. All right, here come the Jazz. Both teams are shooting 38% from the field. And that's going to be a reach-in foul on Simone Fontecchio. All right, Utah will have it side out. Here comes Jaren Jackson Jr. Ace Bailey for the corner 3. That one rims off. Rebound goes to Miami. Here comes Davion Mitchell. Mitchell guarded by Collier. Mitchell drives into the lane and he gets the layup. Right now, Miami within 4. Davion Mitchell right now with 9 points in this game. And Jaren Jackson Jr. answers with the basket and goes for the and one. All right, Kelly Ware will come out of the game from Miami. And Jaren Jackson Jr. will knock down the and one. So Utah's leads go back up to 7. There's Nikola Jovic, uncontested 3. Rims off, rebound by Bam. Back to Jovic. Finds Davion Mitchell. Finds Wiggins. Wiggins to Jovic. Back to Davion Mitchell. Davion Mitchell drives into the lane. Gets fouled and will go to the line for 2 free throws. Here comes Davion Mitchell driving to the lane. He gets fouled by Lauri Markkanen. Loses his shoe on the way, but he will go to the line for 2 free throws. Davion Mitchell knocks down the first free throw. And he goes 1 of 2 from the line. Rebound back to Miami. And here comes Wiggins missing that layup, and he's going to get fouled. That one's going to be on Jusuf Nurkic. So that will send Andrew Wiggins to the line for 2 free throws. All right, Wiggins goes to the line. He makes the first free throw. And Andrew Wiggins makes both free throws. So now the Heat are trailing by 4. Here comes Jaren Jackson Jr. Isaiah Collier passes it out to Lauri Markkanen. Back to Jaren Jackson Jr. Jaren Jackson Jr. guarded by Wiggins. Jaren Jackson Jr. comes up with that miss. Rebound by Bam. Here come the Heat. Bam driving down to the lane. Finds Jovic, but that one goes out of bounds. Utah will have possession of the ball. That was an errant pass from Bam. Not sure why he would pass it out. Probably need to find somebody nearby. Miami now with 13 turnovers to Utah 6. And that's a missed 3 for Utah. Here comes Miami. Simone Fontecchio finding Davion Mitchell. Back to Jovic. Fontecchio for 3. That one rims off. Rebound goes to Utah. Here comes Isaiah Collier. Finds Ace Bailey. Here comes Isaiah Collier. Guarded by Davion Mitchell. Now guarded by Wiggins. Drives into the lane. Finds Jusuf Nurkic. And Jusuf Nurkic knocks down that 3. The Jazz go up by 7. Here comes Jovic. Jovic to Fontecchio. To Davion Mitchell. Back to Wiggins. Wiggins. Ball gets kicked out of bounds by Utah. So it'll still be Heat ball. All right, here comes Miami. Bam gets the basket. And the Heat trail by 5 in this one. Bam Adebayo with only 7 points in this one, shooting 2 for 8 from the field. And there's the ace, taking off with the high fly flow for the alley-oop. Ace Bailey getting that dunk as Utah leads by 7. All right, here comes Miami now. And Wiggins knocks down the fadeaway jumper, bringing the Heat back within 5. All right, here comes Isaiah Collier. Gives it to Jaren Jackson Jr. Back to Collier. Back to Jaren Jackson Jr. for 3. That one rims off. Rebound goes to Yusuf Nurkic. Lauri Markkanen finds Jaren Jackson Jr. again. And that's going to be a traveling violation on Utah. So it'll be Heat ball. There's that alley-oop from Nurkic to find Ace Bailey. And that ball rims out for Miami. Here comes Utah. Corner 3 on the way. And Lauri Markkanen sinks it. So right now it's back to an 8-point game for Utah. Lauri Markkanen in this one has 15 points, shooting 5 for 13 from the field. All right, Bam has the ball. He gets fouled and will go to the line for 2 free throws. And that's going to prompt a timeout for Utah. Sorry, that's going to prompt a timeout for Miami. Utah are leading right now. And they're out in front, 72-64. And we are back. Score 72-64, Utah. Right now, the scoring leaders for Miami includes Jasper Ziaka with 17 points, Andrew Wiggins with 15 points, and Davion Mitchell with 10 points. For Utah, we have Jaren Jackson Jr. with 20 points, Lauri Markkanen with 15 points. Right now, Bam Adebayo is at the line for 2 free throws. He just knocked down the first free throw. And Bam makes both free throws. So right now, it's a 6-point lead for Utah. Here comes Isaiah Collier. Right now, Miami is shooting 77% from the free throw line, and Utah 78%. All right, Utah swinging the ball around, and they give it to Jaren Jackson Jr. for the reverse layup. Utah goes back to an 8-point lead. All right, here comes Jaquez. Gives it to Jovic. Jovic drives in, and he gets fouled. So two more free throws for Miami, as this foul goes against Lauri Markkanen. Miami needs to protect the paint better. Can't allow Utah to get some sneaky baskets underneath the rim. And Jaren Jackson Jr. will take a must-deserved seat on the bench. Nikola Jovic misses that first free throw. And Nikola Jovic missing both free throws. All right, here comes Isaiah Collier. Gives it to Ace Bailey. Back to Collier. Here comes Ace Bailey. Guarded by Jaquez. Back to Collier. Finds Lord. That's a missed 3 from Utah. Rebound by Simone Fontecchio. Jaquez, corner 3. And that one rims off. Rebound goes to Miami. Here comes Davion Mitchell. Davion Mitchell drives into the lane. Misses the layup, but he gets fouled. So that'll be 2 more free throw attempts for Miami. Right now, Miami is thriving off getting fouls on Utah. But they need to get their free throws to fall as well. Davion Mitchell knocks down the first free throw. And it looks like we're going to have ourselves a timeout. Miami are trying to claw their way back into this one, but Utah has a 74-67 lead. All right, we're back. Davion Mitchell is at the line after making that first free throw. And Davion Mitchell makes both free throws. So right now, Miami has a 6-point lead. Miami is trailing by 6, excuse me. Here comes Utah. Ace Bailey finds Markkanen. Markkanen drives in. Misses the layup, but he gets fouled. Markkanen will go to the line for 2 free throws. That foul is going to be on Simone Fontecchio. Markkanen knocks down the first free throw. And Markkanen makes both free throws. So the lead goes back up to 8 for Utah. Lauri Markkanen right now has 17 points and 8 rebounds, shooting 33% from behind the arc. That ball goes out of bounds, last touch by Utah. All right, Simone Fontecchio comes out of the game for Miami. Kasper Siaka Jr. is now in. All right, here comes Davion Mitchell. Kasper Siaka Jr. has the ball. Bam, goes for 3. And that one rims out. Rebound goes to Utah. Here comes Isaiah Collier. Collier guarded by Davion Mitchell. Gives it to Williams. Here comes Ace Bailey. Ace gives it to Nurkic. Nurkic, uncontested basket. Misses it. Rebound goes to Miami. Here comes Kasper Siaka Jr. Finds Hawkes. Gives it to Davion Mitchell. Miami swinging the ball all around. And Jaime Juanwick Hawkes Jr. 3 from Miami. That brings the Heat within 5. Jaime Hawkes Jr. getting himself on the board for Miami. All right, here comes Utah. And that's going to be a foul on the Heat. That will send Bryce Sensabaugh to the line for 2 free throws. All right, Bryce Sensabaugh knocks down the first free throw. And Bryce Sensabaugh knocks down both free throws. So now it's a 7-point lead for Utah. Here comes Bam. Gets his shot blocked by Jusuf Nurkic. And here comes Utah. Isaiah Collier loses the ball. And here comes Miami again. Bam, driving into the lane. Gets fouled and gets the basket. The hoop plus the hard for Bam Adebayo. Bam right now with 11 points. Shooting 3 for 11 from the field. Nice heads-up play by Jaime Hawkes Jr. to give it to Bam. And he's going to go to the line for the and 1. Right now, Utah shooting 82% from on the free throw line. Miami, 73%. Yusuf Nurkic takes a seat on the bench for Utah. And Bam knocks out the and one. So right now, the Heat are within 4. All right, here comes Isaiah Collier. Breaks through the defenders, and he gets the layup with ease. Utah's lead goes back up to 6. Here comes Drew Smith. Gives it to Bam. Bam gets the basket. Here we go. And the Heat are trailing by 4 in this one. All right, here comes Utah. Bryce Sensabaugh has it. Gives it to Isaiah Collier. Collier, guarded by Drew Smith. And that's a missed basket for Utah. Here comes Bam. Bam stops, gives it to Drew Smith. Back to Bam. Here comes Bam. Bam again. Bam is coming alive in this game, and the Heat are within 2. Bam is starting to look very sharp now. This is the Bam Miami's been waiting for in this game. And here's Bryce Sensabaugh for 3. That one rims off. Rebound by Nikola Jovic. Here comes Bam again. Can Miami come back to take the lead or tie the game? Gives it to Hawkes. Hawkes backing down his opponent. Misses the basket. And here comes Utah again. There's a 3 on the way. And that one rims off. Rebound by Bam. Bam brings it up to the floor. Gives it to Drew Smith. Finds Kasper Siakam. Bam recovers the ball. Bam shoots it. Misses it. Back tapped by Hawkins, but it goes to Utah. Alright, here comes Isaiah Collier. Collier guarded by Bam. And there's a steal from Miami. Here comes Hawkins. Hawkins driving to the lane. Gets fouled, and he will go to the line for 2 free throws. Jaime Hawkins Jr. now at the line. He knocks down the first free throw, and it brings Miami within 1. Utah already with 8 steals. Miami has 4 in this game. And Andrew Wiggins returns to the court for Miami. And Jaime Hawkins Jr. ties the game at 80. Miami right now on a comeback trail. The Heat are on a 9-2 run so far. And that's going to be a foul on Bam. That will send Kyle Filipkowski to the line for 2 free throws. All right, Kyle Filipkowski makes the first free throw, giving Utah the lead. And Kyle Filipkowski makes both free throws. So now it's a 2-point game for Utah. All right, here comes Bam. He's surrounded. Kicks it out to Hawkins for 3. And that one rims off. Imagine if it went in. Here comes Utah. Isaiah Collier finds Bryce Sensabaugh. Sensabaugh drives to the lane. Misses the basket. Rebound goes to Miami. Here comes Drew Smith. Drew Smith in traffic, and he will go to the line for 2 free throws. All right, Drew Smith knocks down the first free throw. All right, another Memphis Grizzly, or former Memphis Grizzly, is now in the game. John Conchar. He was part of that trade. He was part of that Jaren Jackson Jr. trade that sent him to Utah. And Drew Smith makes both free throws. Kelly Ware is also in the game. Right, here comes Utah. Right, here comes Isaiah Collier. There's a 3 on the way from Utah, and that one goes in. That corner 3 connects. And Utah right now has a 3-point lead. All right, here comes Jaquez. Jaquez finds Kelly Ware for the corner 3. That one rims off. Rebound by Utah. And this one's going to be a fast break for Bryce Sensabaugh. And he doesn't get it off in time. So at the end of the third quarter, it's been a back and forth game with Miami on the comeback trail. They tied the game twice in this game. Twice in this quarter. But Utah holds the lead. They are in front 85-82. Stick around, we have more action coming for you in the fourth quarter. It's the Heat Zone, courtesy of Kendall Sports Network. And we are back, ready to begin the fourth quarter. Utah has a 3-point lead. All right, here comes Filipkowski, he gets fouled by Kel'el Ware, and he will go to the line for 2 free throws. So far in this game, Utah has been in control of this contest, thanks to Jaren Jackson Jr. and Lauri Markkanen. Miami so far has 24 bench points compared to Utah's 19. All right, Kyle Filipkowski will go to the line for 2 free throws. He knocks down the first free throw, and that gives Utah a 4-point lead. And Kyle Filipkowski makes both free throws, so that gives Utah a 5-point lead. Here comes Drew Smith. Gives it to Hawkes. Hawkes finds Kel'el Ware for the alley-oop. And right now, Miami are within 3 again. Kel'el Ware with 8 points, going 3 for 6 from the field, shooting 50%. And that's an uncontested 3. Utah misses that one. Rebound by Hawkes Jr. Here comes Hawkes. And there's Kel'el Ware for the putback. That should be an and one opportunity for Miami. I guess not. Alright, so Jaime Hawkes Jr. will go to the line for 2 free throws. He knocks down the first. And Hawkes will go 1 of 2 from the line. Stolen away by Drew Smith. Here comes Kasper Siakam Jr. Gives it to Wiggins for 3. That one rims off. Rebound goes to Utah. And I think that's going to be a foul on Kel'el Ware. I think it's going to be on Kel'el Ware again. So right now, the Heat are trying to get back into this one. Kel'el Ware will come out of the game for Miami. And Nikola Jovic is back in for Miami. Oh, Kel'el Ware has fouled out with 8 points. Oof. Hate to see that for him. All right, here comes Utah. Ball's knocked loose. Recovered by the Jazz. Here comes Filipkowski. Gives it to Bryce Sensabaugh for the corner 3. That one rims out. Here comes Sensabaugh. And that's going to be an offensive foul on the Jazz, so that'll be Heat ball. All right, here we go. Here comes Kasper Siakam finds Nikola Jovic. Jovic back to Siakam. Siakam to Wiggins. Siakam for 3. Woo! And he got the basket. Miami ties. Miami is now in front thanks to Kasper. The friendly goes. Siakam for 3. All right, here comes Kyle Filipkowski. Rebound goes to Utah. And Kyle Filipkowski gets the uncontested dunk, putting Utah back in front. Kyle Filipkowski right now with 12 points, shooting 3 for 7 from the field. Here comes Miami. Wiggins finds Jovic. Out to Hawkes. Hawkes in traffic. He gets fouled and he will go to the line for 2 free throws. Jaime Jaquez Jr. knocks down the first free throw. And Jaime Jaquez Jr. gives Miami the lead with those 2 free throws. Miami has a 1-point lead. All right, here we go. Here comes Utah now. That's a 3 on the way, and that one rims off. Rebound goes to Drew Smith. Here comes Jaime Jaquez Jr. Jaime Jaquez Jr. misses the lip, but he goes back to the free throw line again. Miami right now are benefiting from the charity stripe, as they should. Jaime Jaquez Jr. making the first free throw. And Jaime Jaquez Jr. goes 1 of 2 from the line. All right, here comes Utah. That ball goes out of bounds. Last touch by Jaime Jaquez Jr. It remains Jazz ball. All right, here we go. Utah has the ball. And Ace Bailey ties the game for Utah. Ace Bailey right now making 10 points, shooting 40% from the field. Here comes Wiggins. And Andrew Chief Wiggins gives Miami the lead again. Andrew Wiggins hitting that nice 3. Miami leads by 3. All right, here comes Kyle Filipkowski. And that's going to be a kickball violation on Miami. All right, here comes. And that's a nice dunk for Utah. Ace Bailey getting that uncontested basket. All right, here comes Nikola Jovic. Jovic finds Wiggins. Wiggins step back 3. That one rims off. Rebound goes to Utah. Here comes Kyle Filipkowski. All right, Utah swinging the ball around. And that's going to go out of bounds. Last touch by the Jazz. It'll be Heat ball. And that ball was last touched by Utah. Williams was the last one who touched it. So it will be Heat ball. All right, here comes Jaquez. Gives it to Drew Smith. Back to Jaquez. Jaquez finds Wiggins. Wiggins in traffic. And Wiggins will go to the line for 2 more free throws. I mean, right now are thriving off the charity stripe. And Andrew Wiggins makes the first free throw. And Andrew Wiggins goes 1 of 2 from the line. All right, here comes Williams Jr. Gives it to Ace Bailey. Ace Bailey in traffic, and he ties the game at 95. Ace Bailey now with 14 points, shooting 50% from the field. And there's Drew Smith answering back with a basket, putting Miami back up in front. All right, here comes Williams. Drives into the lane. And Utah ties the game again. So far, this one's been back and forth. Here comes Wiggins. Wiggins. Almost lost the ball twice. Here comes Hawkes. Hawkes finds Bam. Bam almost lost the ball. Gets fouled and the dunk. I'm sorry. Bam did not get fouled, but he did get the dunk. So Miami's back in front by 2. Bam Adebayo with 18 points, shooting 6 for 15 from the field. And here comes the ace. There's a corner 3 on the way. That one rims off. Rebound by Drew Smith. Here comes Jaime Hawkes. Hawkes driving into the lane. Gets his shot blocked. Here comes Utah. And Kyle Filipkowski ties the game at 99 for Utah. And that's going to lead to a Heat timeout. Back and forth these teams go. Trading the lead, trading buckets, trading attitudes. And we're all tied up at 99. And we are back. We are tied at 99. Here comes Davion Mitchell. Mitchell passes it to Hawkes. Hawkes finds Bam. Bam dominates his way into the paint, and he gets a dunk. And Miami retakes the lead. Bam right now with 20 points, shooting 7 for 16 from the field. All right, here we go. Here comes Utah. Utah looking to drive their way into the paint. And that's a miss. Rebound goes to Wiggins. Here comes Davion Mitchell. Mitchell finds Hawkins. Hawkins to Wiggins. Wiggins drives in. Gets his shot blocked, but he goes to the line for 2 free throws. Wiggins going to the line for 2 more free throws. Miami right now are thriving off Utah's fouls, and they are now in the bonus. Wiggins missing the first free throw. And Andrew Wiggins missing both free throws. So right now, Utah has the ball. And that's going to be a tying layup for the Jazz. So we're tied at 101. Here comes Davion Mitchell. Mitchell to Wiggins for 3. And Andrew Chief Wiggins once again from Miami. As the Heat lead by 3. Andrew Wiggins shooting 22 points. And he's going 40% from behind the arc. All right, here comes the Jazz. They lose the ball, and here comes Wiggins. Finds Hawkins. Hawkins alley to Wiggins for the dunk. And Miami right now has a 5-point lead. Andrew Wiggins leading the way with 24 points in this contest. And that's going to be a foul on Miami. Bam Adebayo is the one to pick that one up. Nice feed from Hawkins to Wiggins. That was a sweet looking alley-oop. All right, Kyle Filipkowski at the line for Utah. He knocks down the first free throw. And Kyle Filipkowski makes both free throws. All right, here comes Miami. Kasper Ziakojunas missing that 3. Rebound by Wiggins. And Wiggins again from Miami. Wiggins right now, he is doing it all for the Heat. He has 26 points in this game. Here comes Utah. Bryce sends the puck for 3. And he knocks it down. And that's going to prompt another Heat timeout. So far in this game, it's been all Andrew Wiggins from Miami, along with Bam Adebayo. But Utah are starting to just claw their way back into this one, and was a very close back and forth game between these two teams. Miami leads 108 to 106. And we are back, ready for your fourth quarter follow-up. Jaren Jackson Jr. and Lauri Markkanen combined for 39 points and 13 rebounds. Kasper Siakam Jr. has made 12 of his last 15 threes, making 20 points. And Bam Adebayo getting his 250th career double-double, 20 points and 10 rebounds. Bam Adebayo has awakened at the right time, and Miami needs him more than ever, along with Wiggins. So right now, Miami has a 2-point lead. Hawkins looking for Bam, but that pass is broken up, and I think that's going to be a foul. Yes, it is going to be a foul on Isaiah Collier. So that should send Bam to the line for 2 more free throws. All right, Bam will go to the line for 2 free throws. He made the first, but misses the second. So right now it's a 3-point lead. All right, here comes Utah. And they managed to get the basket, but no foul called on them. I mean, no foul call for Ace Bailey for the and one opportunity. Here comes Bam. Miami swinging the ball around to Wiggins for 3. That one rims off. Here comes Kasper Siakam Jr. fighting for the ball. Bam is there to help him. Ball is knocked loose. Let's see who was last touched by. Not sure who was last touched by. Goodness. All right, see it again. Kasper Siakam Jr. was fighting for that loose ball along with Bam Adebayo. Ball went sailing out of bounds. Not sure who it was last touched by. Can't see from a different angle. Well, we need to see it from a different angle. All right, it's going to be a jump ball. Miami wins the tip. Here comes Davion Mitchell. And that's going to be a double dribble on Davion Mitchell. What was he thinking? There he is again. Dribbles once. He carries. Then he dribbles again. Like, what was he thinking? This is not street ball, man. Here comes Kyle Filipkowski. All right, give it to Bryce Sensabaugh. Sensabaugh thinking about going for the 3. Here he goes. Rims off. Rebound by Wiggins. Here comes Davion Mitchell. Give it to Wiggins. Wiggins to Davion Mitchell. Back to Hawkins. Hawkins guarded by Filipkowski. Here comes Hawkins. Hawkins misses the basket. Bam Adebayo gets it. He gets the basket and will go for the and one. Gotta love the hustle Bam is giving right now. Hitting that reverse layup, and he'll go to the line for the and one. And Bam misses the and one opportunity, but the ball is loose. Utah has it. Now Hawkins is wrestling for the ball. This one's going to be a jump ball. This is going to be another jump ball. You see Jaime Hawkins Jr. wrestling for the ball with Ace Bailey. You also see Andrew Wiggins and Davion Mitchell and Kasper Siakam Jr. jumping in. So it's going to be another jump ball. Jaime Jaquez Jr. going up against Ace Bailey. Utah wins the tip. Here comes Bryce Sensabaugh. Sensabaugh looking for the three. All right, Utah will have it side out. All right, here comes the Jazz. The fadeaway, and that one goes in. Isaiah Collier knocking it down. Isaiah Collier right now with 13 points, shooting 5 for 8 from the field. Here comes Davion Mitchell. Mitchell finds Bam. Here comes Bam. Bam misses the basket. Rebound by Utah. All right, here comes Utah. They give it to Sensabaugh. Sensabaugh goes for the three, and Sensabaugh gets it. Utah retakes the lead. Bryce Sensabaugh now with 12 points, and that's going to lead to a timeout for Miami. Again, back and forth we go, and Utah right now is starting to pick up the momentum. It has been a wild game so far, as Utah retakes the lead 113 to 111. And we are back. It is now 113-111. Utah has retaken the lead. Miami now needs to respond. Ready to go to Wiggins. Wiggins has the ball. Wiggins missing that basket. Rebound by Utah. All right, here comes Isaiah Collier. Collier guarded by Kasper Siakajunas. Here comes. Missed basket, rebound by Miami. And that's going to be a timeout for the Heat. Whew. Not much time left for Miami, but they need to draw up a play. Did he go for the tie, or did he go to win the game? Again, did he go for the tie, or will they try to win the game? Erik Spoelstra needs to draw something up. If I'm the Heat, I say go for the tie. Go for the tie. That gives you some space to at least go into overtime. Miami already used up their timeouts. Alright, so Miami has possession of the ball. They are trailing by 2 in this one. Edge of your seat time. Let's see what they can do. Hawkins will inbound the ball. Gives it to Yaka Jr. for 3. That one rims up. Oh my god, and that's gonna be. Oh my god. Oh my god. What a missed opportunity for getting the offensive rebound. Like, Andrew Wiggins was right there. He was right there. Oh my god, if he was there a second earlier. Oh my goodness. And that's going to lead to a Utah Jazz timeout. The Jazz lead 113 to 111. And we are back. Score is 113-111. Utah has the lead right now. How this game got away from Miami is unreal. And that's going to be a quick foul for Miami. Kyle Filipkowski is on the floor. He is hurt. Kind of rammed right into one of his teammates. All right, that will send Bryce sends the ball to the line for 2 free throws. He makes the first, and that's a 3-point game. If he makes this one is put on ice. And he makes both free throws. So this one is over. Final score, 115 to 111. It's the same old for Miami. A win here, a loss there. A win here, a loss there. 2 losses there, a win somewhere, and then now a loss on their home floor. And what played into a big factor for this was Jaren Jackson Jr. and Lauri Markkanen providing the big lift for Utah. I mean, the Jazz broke away late in the second quarter and much of the third quarter, meaning Miami had to once again try to make a comeback. While the Heat did have some moments throughout the fourth quarter, Utah was there to answer back. And what helped the Jazz mainly was because they were getting defensive rebounding and managing to stop Miami's offense. Miami did counteract it with turnovers and getting to the free throw line, but again, it still wasn't enough. it's still frustrating to see what's become of Miami. It really is. Like, the Heat have just, I don't know, they haven't made any serious adjustments. I mean, yeah, you had Kelly Ware in the starting lineup, along with Bam Adebayo to counteract Yusuf Nurkic and Jaren Jackson Jr., but then he fouls out with 8 points in this game. The only bright spot for Miami was not only Bam Adebayo getting his 250th double-double and Casper Siakam Jr. hitting 15 of his 21 three-point attempts, but Andrew Wiggins was providing much of the lift for Miami. It's a shame that the Miami Heat really didn't do much. I mean, those free throws were very crucial and definitely hurt Miami in the long run. All right, for the Heat, Andrew Wiggins led the way with 26 points. Casper Siakam Jr. came off the bench with 20 points. Davion Mitchell had 12 points. And Bam Adebayo with a double-double, his 250th double-double with 23 points and 11 rebounds. And for the Jazz, Lauri Markkanen had 17 points. Jaren Jackson Jr. led the way with 22 points. Ace Bailey had 16 points and 8 rebounds. Isaiah Collier had a near double-double of 13 points and 9 assists. And we have a pair of double-doubles. Kyle Filipkowski with 16 points and 11 rebounds. And Yusuf Nurkic with 10 points and 16 rebounds. Another tough loss for Miami. It's like they take two steps forward, 1 step back. Or rather, 1 step forward, 2 steps back. Because this team just doesn't know whether to progress or regress. And it's been frustrating to see what this team has become. But either way, Miami will need to get it together, because their next game, they're going to be on the road, and they're going to be heading to the Big Easy as they take on Zion Williamson and the New Orleans Pelicans. Again, the Heat will need to find something easy in the Big Easy going up against Zion Williamson and the New Orleans Pelicans. That game starts Wednesday at 8 o'clock p.m. and you can watch that on NBA League Pass and FanDuel Sports Network Sun. Again, Heat, Pelicans, Wednesday night at 8 o'clock p.m. and you can watch that on NBA League Pass and FanDuel Sports Network Sun. I'd like to thank each and every one of you who either lurked or you wanted to look at the play-by-play, wanted to listen to play-by-play, or just look at the scoreboard. Yes, I know it's kind of rough right now being a Heat fan, but like most fans, you have to go through it. Like all cycles, you go through it, whether good or bad. And you know, it's all about trying to find some silver linings, like I pointed out with Casper Siakam Jr., Bam Adebayo, and Andrew Wiggins. But yes, right now this is kind of like this is a rough patch for Miami. They are still in the play-in territory. They haven't made any progression, and things are just going back and forth, like 1 step forward, 2 steps back. But either way, it's about trying to find some consistency, if anything, for this team. But again, I want to say thank you to each and every one of you who tune in, wanted to hear the play-by-play, or even look at the scoreboard and follow what's going on. I really appreciate that. With that, I say take care of each other, love one another, always be kind to someone, and give love, give kindness, give respect, and hope that is reciprocated back to you and spread tenfold. Because you never know when that day comes. I'm Deron Butler, reminding you to always run through the paint. Yes, I'd like to say thank you all. Take care. God bless. I love each and every one of you. And as always, go Heat. See you guys on Wednesday. Hopefully the Heat can get it together and come up with a big win.